Thank you so much. We are so excited to be here today, kicking off Camp Creatology with our owl collage. So this is what we're going to be making today. We made a couple early just so everybody can see, and they've got fun googly eyes, which makes for a fun little addition when you're all done, right? So here's what you're going to need to finish your owl collage today. You will need construction paper. So if we've got these great construction paper packs by Creatology. If you want to make the owl, the colors you will need, if you want to make the owl, let me rephrase that. If you want to make the owl exactly like we made the owl, the colors you will need are blue, purple, both for this kind of background and for the eyes. You'll need a little bit of orange for the nose. You'll need pink for the clothes and green for the green for the grass and brown for the wings and feet. And then you'll need a base paper that's just plain yellow or manila. Oh, sorry, and pink, yeah, pink and brown we'll use on the ears as well. But here's the cool thing. You don't have to use these colors. You can use whatever colors you like. This is just if you want to do it exactly like we did. We used blue, purple, orange, yellow, brown, and pink, okay? Alice is actually going to get a little creative, and she's not even going to make an owl today. She's going to try to make a flamingo. So you can also make any other type of animals if you want to make something other than an owl. We'll just show you the kind of the basics, and you can go crazy with all sorts of creative ways to make your own collage animal, whether that's an owl or something else. The other things you will need in addition to construction paper are a easy pencil or pen. You'll want a dark pen or a marker. We're using the Creatology marker set today. And you'll need a couple different other items. So handily, we've got this great art set by Creatology that has a lot of these items in it already. So you can either use your art set, or if you have these items separately, you can also use them there. But this art set comes with a ton of creative supplies that you can use for any number of projects. It also comes with its own project book with a bunch of other project ideas. So a good way to keep everyone busy this summer. But you'll see it's full of pom-poms and foam stickers, chenille stems, glitter glue. Today, what you'll need is, it's got some tissue paper squares in it. So we are going to use these. If you don't have tissue paper at home, that's a-okay. We can also use construction paper or other types of paper to get the same effect. But we're going to use these today. It's got a pair of kid-safe scissors, always important for kids. I will be using grown-up scissors today, but only grown-ups should use these sharpened scissors, whereas kids should be using kid-safe so nobody gets hurt, right? It comes with an assorted amount of googly eyes. So we will be using these as well as a pack we just had at home in our craft drawer to have some fun with. And then, as I said earlier, it comes with glitter glue. Also included is just plain glue in this pack. So you can use this glue, or Creatology glue stick also will do the trick. Any questions about substitutions or other things you might need before we get started today?
Yes, we do have one question here. Can you do a mix of construction paper and tissue paper?
Absolutely. And that is exactly what we'll be doing today, actually. So it may be a little hard to see on mine, but all of this background and kind of the big pieces of the owl are all construction paper. But this, my owl is wearing a dress. So this dress part is all tissue paper. So you can kind of see the different effect here because you can see through tissue paper. It's just a little thinner paper, the construction paper, which tends to be more opaque. So this is what we will be using a mix today. But again, if you don't have tissue paper, don't worry. You can always just use more construction paper to fill in this the clothing section for yourself.
And
All
Jess,
right.
yeah, what about can we use printer paper and then color it?
Yes, that's another great suggestion. Absolutely. So another way to do this project like completely is to kind of work in reverse, right? You could essentially draw it on a piece of paper, color in all the different sections, and then cut out pieces or rip up those pieces and reconstruct them on a new piece of paper. So you get that effect of the different colors. If you just have plain white paper at home, you can absolutely color out a picture, but then you get the fun of tearing it up and kind of putting it back together like a puzzle. So that could be a whole other fun way to do this project. And have a little like 2-in-1 with a puzzle and a collage. So very cool. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Please feel free to put questions, comments in the Q&A section. We'll stop if we're going too fast. We can always repeat instructions. So don't worry about that. We'll try to make sure everyone's following along. So the first thing we're gonna do, today, I'm gonna just get us kind of resettled here so that we can have space to do our work. Put some stuff away in a moment. The first thing we're going to do is kind of draw the shape of our owl. And in Alice's case, she's doing her flamingo. So she will be drawing her flamingo. So you want to find the piece, the color that you want to be the base of your piece of artwork, right? For our example, we used a yellow piece of paper. So I'm going to be recreating our example today so you can follow along. So I'll be using yellow as my base piece of paper. And the cool thing about the owl, and I've got some examples already drawn out so you can kind of see where we're going, is that it's just a bunch of shapes, right? The head is just a big kind of, I call it a fat heart. Its ears are just triangles. Its belly is just a 3/4 moon, big fat 3/4 moon belly. Its wings are like leaf shapes and its feet are the shapes of like half circles. So it's all just shapes that are easy to draw. And they don't have to be perfect because remember, we're gonna cover a lot of this up with construction paper and get creative. So if you don't draw it perfectly, that's okay. It'll probably get covered up when we start putting the construction paper or tissue paper onto your piece of art. So I will show you how to draw these fun pieces. So, okay, we're gonna start. Yes.
One huge favor. Could you set the owl maybe on top of the construction paper facing this way so that we have a view of what
Can you see that okay?
There you go. That's perfect.
That
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna start by drawing what I call that big fat heart. I'm gonna start with the big fat heart. And you wanna kind of do it maybe as you're looking at your paper, kind of go if you're going to split your paper up into thirds, right? 1, 2, 3 sections. You're going to want to kind of start your big fat heart at the top of the middle section, okay? Of that top 2/3 of the, or the top of the bottom 2/3, confusing everyone, of the paper. So I'm going to start it up here. Again, it does not have to be perfect. You're just kind of drawing a big fat round heart. Let's see. There we go. Yes, very good. So everyone can see what I just drew. It's a big kind of fat round heart, right? And as you look at my paper, I kind of started about 2/3 of the way up my paper from the bottom, okay? The next thing I'm gonna draw is its big fat 2/3 of a moon belly. So this next big portion directly below it, okay? So to do that, I'm just gonna start up here and I'm gonna make a big 3/4 moon belly, just like that, okay? So now I've got the head and the body of my owl. Next, I'm gonna draw its ears, and its ears are just triangles, okay? You're gonna do one bigger triangle and one little triangle inside so that you get this effect here. So you see there's some brown on the outside and there's pink on the inside. That's what we're working for. And this will be covered up. So again, doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of tracing out the shape of what we're gonna make, okay? So I'm gonna go to the top 2 parts of my heart, and I'm gonna make one big triangle here. And inside that, I'm going to make another triangle here. And this is what that looks like, just so you can see. All right. One big triangle here and one little one inside it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Okay. All right. So now My owl shape has 2 ears, a head, and a body. All right, next, I'm gonna put on its feet, okay? And its feet are gonna be 2 half circles down at the bottom of its fat belly.
Why don't you make it?
There we go, half circle and a half circle. Again, absolutely does not need to be perfect. We're gonna cover it up with construction paper, okay? And then last but not least, we're gonna draw its wings. And those are these kind of leaf shapes on the side of the big fat belly, right over here. You see them? Right there. So those are the things we're gonna do next. And to do that, it's really easy. You can kind of just use the shape you already have and go ahead and create those leaf shapes. In my case, I made one side a little rounder than the other, so I'm gonna do a little course correction there, but again, doesn't matter because it's all gonna get covered up anyway.
I'm actually making a cheese.
Okay, Alice has changed her mind midway. She's now making a cheetah instead of a flamingo, so new shapes. Okay, sorry, my hand's cramping up. Okay, so now I've got my owl all done. How's everybody else coming? Any questions?
No, not so far.
Excellent. Okay. So once you have your owl all drawn, then the next thing you're going to do is grab a marker. And what we're going to do on the next part is actually take a marker so it's a little darker than your pencil because this part will show up. You're going to take a marker and you're going to outline the head, that big fat heart, okay? Don't need to worry about the ears because those are going to be construction paper later. Don't need to worry about any of the body because we're going to put construction paper on that, okay? We're just going to take a marker and go over our big fat heart and outline that, all right? So I'm going to use a brown marker. Is anyone making a different animal other than an owl?
I saw panda, elephant, a bunch of flamingos, koala.
Ooh, I love the creativity. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Sorry, my hand is cramping. It's making it hard for me to draw right now.
We have quite a few more here.
Ooh,
So
let me hear.
cat, butterfly, fish, pig, hummingbird, a dog.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have such a menagerie when we're all done of animals. I love it.
Crocodile.
Crocodile. Ooh, hopefully with some nice big shiny teeth, sharp shiny teeth.
Oh boy,
Okay.
we have a dragon, lizard, snake, human. I don't know if that's all in one.
Oh, that's the most creative one yet, I think. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I've got my owl head outlined here. And once you've got your head outlined of your creature, we're going to move on to the next step, which is kind of cutting out shapes to fill in some of the body parts. And so we'll start cutting those parts and pieces out. If you're moving a little slower and you're still working on your trace body, that's okay. We can always kind of stop and go back if you need help figuring out where we are in the project. But I'm going to move on to start cutting out my shapes, different shapes that I need to make my owl. So what are the shapes that I need to make my owl? Can anybody name some of the shapes you see here that we've cut out in construction paper?
So let's give them just a second. Circle, circle.
Two circles for the eyes. That's exactly right. What other shapes do you see?
Triangles.
Triangles for the ears. That's right. We've got 2 brown triangles and 2 pink triangles. So you'll need 4 triangles. What other shapes do you see?
Oval.
An oval. Exactly. Yes. So nice for the wings. And then this nose is a little bit of is like a kind of a carrot shaped oval, I would say. And then we have some half circles for our feet too, right?
Yes.
And we'll do this toward the end, but I also used kind of a trim here and a trim here that are just kind of curved lines as well for my clothes. So depending on what kind of clothes you want to put on your animal, your shape may be a little different, but those are all that was great identifying all the shapes in this project. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to start with my triangles. Oh, Alice, let's pause. Why don't you show everybody? So this is Alice's cheetah. Yeah.
Also, could you pull me out some yellow paper?
I sure can.
So this is my, I don't know.
You see? She's got her cheetah working.
It's very light
kind of hard
sketch.
to see. Sorry, our tripod shadow is kind of getting in the way. But yes, and her cheetah's tongue is sticking out. So that'll be fun to,
It's
fun to
like
play with.
it's
later.
licking its foot.
Okay, and you said you needed a piece of yellow. You have a piece of yellow in your
Oh, I
pocket.
see. No, that's
Oh, I thought
me
thought you
too.
had one. Okay. You pause and give Alice a piece of yellow paper for her cheetah.
We have a fantastic question here. Can we name our animals?
Oh yeah.
Yes. And if you want, you can help me name my animal. I would love to hear some names for our owl friend here today. So if you want to put some name suggestions in the chat for our owl, we'll give him a name, him a name at the end of our craft today. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the cutting. So I'm gonna put my tracing aside for just for a minute, but I'm gonna keep it close because I might need it to kind of size out some of the things that I need. So first, because orange is first in my stack of construction paper, I'm gonna work on creating this nose, okay? So that nose is just kind of like a big teardrop or a kind of a short fat carrot almost, whichever you prefer. So you're just gonna cut it out. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. There's the beauty of this project is that it is a little handmade and it's not all symmetrical and it's not all perfect. But you're trying to just achieve shapes. And see, my nose was a little bit wonky, so I'm going to try to thin up one side a little bit. But that's okay. Here I got my teardrop, right? And that's going to be my owl's nose when I turn it upside down, right? I'm trying to do this in reverse right there. Okay, so I've got my nose shape. I'm actually going to put that aside for now because we're going to put it on in a little bit. Next, I will move to my eyes.
I do have a
Circles.
problem. Like everything is yellow.
You're gonna have to, you might have to outline more. And if you're making different animals, just decide what you want to what you want to cover with paper, whether that be tissue paper or construction paper, and like cut out shapes, what you want to cover in solid shapes, and what you might want to leave open. So here, our owl's face on this project isn't covered with anything. It's just the base paper, right? And we just put some shapes on top. So you can kind of decide for yourself what you want to cover all fully, what you may want to have be a little see-through, and what you may not want to cover at all. So fun part of the project. If you like, absolutely you may. Okay, so I'm just going to cut 2 circles for my eyes. And to make this a little easier, I'm just going to cut a strip of construction paper so I'm not dealing with the whole piece of paper. Sometimes that can be hard when you're cutting out shapes. So I'm just going to, again, doesn't have to be perfect, 2 big round circles.
And so while you do that, we have a bunch of name suggestions.
Ooh, let's hear them.
So Hootie, Shrieker,
Wait, I'm still laughing at Hootie. I love that. Okay, next.
great name. Lily,
Oh, that's beautiful.
Jenna,
Jenna, I like it.
Big Eyes,
Ooh, that's a good one. Very appropriate for this owl.
Owlina.
Owlina, ooh.
What else? Someone named her owl Rosie.
Oh, I love that. We have a cousin named Rosie, actually. It's a beautiful name.
Zelia,
Ooh, that's a pretty one.
Mrs. Who.
Mrs. Who. And she
Cute.
can have her little who's too. I like it.
Midnight.
Those are some fabulous names, everyone. I love them. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Okay, so I've got 2 circles. Ooh, sorry. What was that?
Go ahead. We have a couple of questions, but go ahead. I'll ask them in a bit.
Okay, so we've got two big circles. I'm going to take these. I'm going to put these aside. let's go ahead and answer those questions before we get too far along down the path.
Okay, so one request and two questions. The request is, could we go a bit slower? And the questions are, can we make a friend for the owl?
Yes, I love that idea. So again, the cool thing about this project is you can really make it anything you want it to be. Like once you understand that we're really just working in shapes, and then we're just going to create a cool background effect, kind of collage effect by tearing up some paper. You can fill in these spaces however you like. So if your main character has a sidekick or a best friend, absolutely. You can do whatever you like and be as creative as you want to be with this project.
Perfect. And another question here is, can we use glitter glue?
Oh, Alice, can we use glitter glue? Yes. Glitter glue, glitter itself, glue by itself, put them together, it makes something even better. Glitter glue is always welcome on any project. It makes a project that much more fabulous. So absolutely, add whatever embellishments you would like. If you wanted to, you could add sequins, you could add feathers, you could add pom-poms. There's all sorts of ways you can embellish this project and make it your own. So I absolutely encourage you guys getting creative however you like. All right, and for those of you who asked us to slow down a bit, I'm happy to do that. But I'll take a moment to let people catch up. Is just a reminder, kind of go back through some of the steps we've been through already, okay? So we started with our base piece of paper and we just traced our owl out of shapes, right? So we made the big fat heart head. We made 2 triangles for ears with 2 mini triangles inside. We made a 3/4 moon big fat belly. We made 2 feet out of half circles. Whoops. And we made 2 wings out of kind of oval or leaf shapes, right? Next, we traced our head. Okay, so just the head. We traced the head with a dark colored marker. I used brown. Because you are going to see that kind of final outline in your picture. So pick a color you like. And then we started cutting out the shapes that we're going to need to fill in the features of our owl. Okay, so far we've made our teardrop nose. We've made our 2 big round circles for eyes. Kind of can't see them on the purple. I'll put those aside. Next, I'm going to work on my triangles for ears, okay? And here, if you see, we actually have 2 colors. We've got brown, we've got pink. And the brown's going to go on the bottom, so it needs to be a little bit bigger. And the pink's going to go inside on top of the brown, so it needs to be a little bit smaller, okay? So I'm going to move on, but I'm happy if anyone needs us to go over a step, happy to do that. So just let us know in the Q&A, okay? All right, I'm going to find my brown. And brown, we're going to use for a couple things. That's fabulous. Alice is still working on her cheetah over here. She's got her front legs and front paws down. And she's actually, a lot of her animal is going to be all the same color. So she's actually tracing out a little bit more than what I did for mine. So all different kinds of ways to make this project happen. Okay, to get to my, again here, because it's a little bit easier to work with, I'm just gonna cut out a strip of construction paper and I'm going to make my triangles, okay? Easy peasy triangles. One cut.
Wait, can I see that?
So I've got 1 triangle for an ear, and I'm going to keep this close to me because when I make my next triangle in pink that goes inside, I want to make sure I'm making it smaller than my brown triangle. Okay, so there I've got my 2 brown triangles for ears now. Okay, I'm going to put these down right here because I'm going to need them in a moment. And I'm going to keep the brown close because I'm still going to need to make the circle feet and my shapes for wings. So I'm going to put that aside just for a minute. Oh, oops. Forgot to get my big sheet. Go back to my construction paper. While I'm doing this, Alice, do you have a joke you would like to share while everybody's working on their owl?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so put what you think the answer is in the Q&A. And so here is our first joke. What's an owl's favorite drink?
Okay, what's an owl's favorite drink? Put your answers in the Q&A chat. And while you're thinking about that, those answers, I'm going to start on the pink insides of my triangle ears, right? So here I'm just going to kind of look to see how big my triangle is, because I want my pink to be smaller than this. So, okay, it goes up to about my finger here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than that.
Okay, we have a bunch of answers here.
Okay, let's hear them.
We have Hoot beer, Hoot juice, Kool-Aid, water, orange juice, Yoo-hoo, hot chocolate, apple smoothie.
Those were fabulous. And there were a lot of great answers. And actually, Yoo-hoo is probably one that I didn't think of that would have been perfect too. But the one we were looking for was actually
Hoot beer.
Hoot beer. So the first person out of the gate got it right away. It's awesome. I love all those answers. Okay, here you can see how I've got my brown triangle and I've got a slightly smaller pink triangle that's just going to get glued right on top. So that brown outlines the pink, just like that. So I've got one set of ears I'm going to set off to the side. Now I'm going to make my other set of ears. Okay, just working on my pink piece. Right. Okay, oops, I made that one a little too skinny. Try it. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Ish. Perfect-ish. All right, make it a little skinnier. There we go. Okay, now I have my second set of ear shapes. So I'm going to put those off to the side. And the last thing for now, I'm going to save the two dress strips probably for last. So I'm going to start working on my wings and my feet. So I'm going to go back to my piece of brown to do that. Any questions while we're waiting or while we're working on our shapes?
Yes. So if someone wants to make an owl but make it a boy owl, how would you go about doing that?
Sure, I think that's a great question.
You
So
could instead of a dress, you could probably add more like a shirt and pants.
mm-hmm,
Or you could give it like sunglasses or some like
mm-hmm.
hat or like some weird tennis shoes that boys wear.
Yeah, because boys wear weird tennis shoes. There are a ton of ways, as Alice was saying, let your imagination go wild. So you could turn, while I have my owl kind of wearing what looks like a dress, you could easily put something down the middle and kind of make it more of a shirt. You could create a bow tie or a tie shape to put on your owl if you're looking for different clothing options. But all different, and then you can just use different colors. You don't have to wear or use the colors I use. This could also just end up looking like a shirt. Mine just was a little more dressy. I made it a little more flouncy, but tons of ways you can get creative. As Alice said, if you wanted to put shoes on your owl or a hat, whether it's a girl or a boy, doesn't matter. You can absolutely get creative any way you want to with their clothing. So.
Awesome. And what about, how would you go about making it 3D? Is that possible?
Ooh.
I feel like making it 3D could actually be possible.
What you'd
have to do is you have to have some paper. It would probably have to be on a flat piece of paper, but it can also not be on a paper probably. You have to take some paper, kind of like, I'm just gonna cut a little, wait a second. You have to cut kind of like lines. I feel like how you could do it to make it 3D is you just cut like a little simple line like this. Then you would kind of put it out gently like this, kind of, where it kind of like comes out on that, has that edge, and then you would kind of like, oh my gosh, put your owl or whatever you're gonna make kind of like on here on the
So
back.
it pushes out a little bit. I see
So,
where
and
you're
then
going.
you would glue it up like this and it would stand up.
Okay, I like that as an idea. Some other ideas are you could take some of your shapes, so whether it's the nose or some of the wings, and kind of where Alice was headed, just curve them a little bit. And so you wouldn't glue it flat to the paper, but you could curve it and just glue the edges to the paper so that it, kind of give it a curve like that, and just glue the edges so that when you glue it down, you're just gluing the edges and not the whole thing. And so it kind of sticks off of your paper a little bit. Could be one way. You could absolutely, probably would be easiest to do that with your wing shapes because those are some of the larger shapes, but you could absolutely do it with smaller shapes like this too. Of course, we've got our googly eyes, any other embellishments that you add could give it some 3D elements as well. Feathers, pom-poms, sequins, more googly eyes. Maybe you've got a spider and it's got a bunch of different eyes, right? All ways you could add some 3D elements to your paper. So get creative. I love that question. That's a fabulous question. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on my final shapes here, okay? So, so my feet and my wings. I'm gonna go back to the little strip of paper I was using that, to make my ears with, to make my feet. Here, I'm just gonna make 2 half circles. You could do this 2 ways. You could make a circle and then cut it in half, or you could just make 2 half circles. I am just gonna make 2 half circles, but either way works. So I'm just gonna do this. Got 1 foot. And again, don't worry if they're not perfect. It's entirely okay if the shapes are not perfect. Okay. You will see my half circles are definitely not perfect. But here are my 2 half circles, and those are going to be my feet. Later, I may need to make them a little smaller so I can always cut them down when we get kind of further into the project. But I'm going to put these aside, and then I'm going to work on my 2 wings. So for the wings, you want, again, kind of these big leaf shapes or ovals. Go ahead and just make them as a complete oval or leaf shape, whatever you want to call it. We'll do this little cutout for the face once we get a little further along in the project, just so it all fits together just right. So don't worry about that quite yet. You just want to make the big shapes. Okay. And again, doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just cutting one big leaf shape and 2 big leaf shapes. That's all we're doing.
Not even done.
That's okay. If you have a different animal, your animal may be taking more time, and that's entirely okay. So there's 1 leaf shape. Make this easier for myself. And two shapes, almost there. Okay, so I've got my 2 leaf shapes cut out now too, and I'm going to set those aside. Okay, next I'm going to start working. I'm just putting all my scraps over here. I like to save scraps unless they're really small, but I like to save big scraps. Just keep them in a scrap pile. You never know when you're going to need a project where you need a color, but you just need a little bit. They're always great to grab. Go back and grab and reuse. Really use your materials to their fullest, right? So I'm going to move my scraps over into a separate pile so I can keep those for later. And next, I'm going to start working on the things I need for my background. Okay, man. I need, so for my background, I use blue, purple, and green. And the way I kind of looked at this was the green was grass, the purple was maybe land or mountains behind, and then the blue was the sky, okay? You don't have to use 3 different colors. If you just wanted to do your background all 1 color, that's okay. If you want to make a rainbow in the background, that's okay. Get as creative as you want. And if you don't want to cut up construction paper and give it this kind of collage effect, you could just draw in the background too. That's okay too. So just take your markers, your pens or your pencils, and draw in the background. So to get to these effects though, what you need to do is honestly just start tearing up paper. This is kind of a fun,
Like this.
Yep, just rip it up into squares or different shapes. You're gonna just fit them all back together so they fit on your paper. What I will tell you that we learned from our first efforts was the smaller you make these shapes, the longer this project takes. So if you make bigger shapes, it can go a little faster. So I'll probably make bigger shapes just to help us keep us moving today. Feel free to make your shapes as small or as big as you like. Just know that the smaller you make them, the more time it's going to take you to fill in the space. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to start with my tears. Again, I need probably, a good bit of blue, a little bit of purple, and probably a lot of green, right? So that's what I'm going to think about. And the best way I figured out to do this is to just rip off a strip just like that. And you want it to have that rough edge, right? So construction paper is great. When you tear it, it kind of gives you that rough edge if you don't use scissors, and you can just start tearing. Do we have any questions while I'm working on this? This will take me a minute or two.
Let me see. We've had well over 400 comments today.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
love it. An engaged group. That's fabulous.
Okay, so about how many squares would you need to cut?
Again, it's going to depend on really what you want your background to look like. So I probably took 2 strips to make the purple section, 2 maybe 1 inch, 1.5 inch strips of the full paper here. So, like probably that much, 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and then just cut it all the way down. So 2 of those probably got me well enough through purple. But again, that's going to depend on how big your pieces are. So this time around, I'm making slightly bigger pieces because it really does take, the smaller you make these, the longer this project takes to fill in. So for my purposes today, I'm going to make my pieces a little bit bigger. So I might not need 2 strips this time. We'll see. But so I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with 1. But I would say probably 1 to 2 strips for the purple, probably a solid 2 for the blue, and then probably 3, at least 3 for the green. But again, it's going to vary by how you're cutting up your parts and pieces. What other questions do we have?
Let's see. Okay, well, this is a comment actually. Someone is using actual feathers for the owl's wings.
Oh,
Yes.
I love it. Please, please, please share your projects with us when we're all done. We love seeing what everyone makes and everybody's creativity. All you have to do is hashtag make it with Michaels and hashtag Michaels classes, and they'll show up in our Michaels social media feeds. We love looking at how you guys interpret these projects because you give us such your ideas are so creative. And we love celebrating your creativity. So please, please, please do share your projects when you're all done.
I need a hard thing about mine. I use purple in the background, so I can't color it.
You're gonna have to figure that out, huh?
So another question here. Can these squares be made out of tissue paper instead?
Yes, absolutely. You could make this whole thing out of tissue paper. We just chose to make most of our clothes out of tissue paper to kind of give it a different feel than the rest of the world. But if you wanted to use tissue paper for your whole project, you could do that. You're just going to need bigger. We just have little squares of tissue paper today and in our project box. So we just had the little squares to work with. But if you have full sheets of tissue paper, absolutely. I bet it will look beautiful because it creates kind of this translucent look and feel. So that might actually be a really cool effect on your piece of artwork. Yes. Okay. So I think Alice has another joke for everyone. Let's everybody get your answers ready.
What do you call an owl who's been caught in the act? Put your answers in the Q&A.
What do you call an owl who's been caught in the act? Answers in the Q&A. All right, I'm still working on just tearing up my paper, right? I'm working on my green, so I'm gonna need a bunch of green. And I'm making my pieces bigger.
Okay, so we have a bunch of
answers.
answers here.
All right, let's hear them.
Let's see. There's Coal, Hootie, Hooted, the Owl Act, Jailbird,
Ooh.
a Coot, an acting owl, an owl cat, caught hoodie-handed.
I love it. I haven't heard our answer yet.
Let's see, a Who Act,
Ooh.
spotted owl.
Ding, 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 ding. You
There
got
we go.
it. You call an owl that's been caught in the act a spotted owl. And that's it for those of you who may or may not know, a spotted owl is a type of owl. We actually have an owl that lives in our backyard.
And it sounds like, and it goes like, who cooks for you? It sounds like it's saying like, who cooks for you?
Yes, its hoot sounds like he or she is saying, who cooks for you? Who cooks? So it sounds like whoo hoo hoo hoo. So we always know it's our little owl. And we saw it the other day. We have one big one, and then we have one
Like a
that's
baby.
like, I don't think it's a baby, but it was smaller. We'd never seen it before, but really beautiful. So, all right, I think I have enough green. I'm gonna keep my piece of green close just in case I need more later. But I'm gonna work on my final squares, and I'm gonna start on my blue. Again, here, I'm just gonna kind of do 2 strips of blue to get me started. I can always go back and cut more if I need to.
I'm not gonna, like do a background.
That's okay.
Okay, it's almost
I
done.
know, you're doing fabulous. Any other questions while this part takes a little bit, so happy to answer
Yes.
questions.
Actually, we've been getting this question quite a lot. Do
Okay.
we have to make a background for the owl?
No, I just said that I isn't gonna make a background. You do not have to make a background. You are not forced to make a background. But if you wanted to have that collage look kind of to it, where it's kind of like bits and bits of pieces, you can, but if you don't want to, you don't have to have a background. And also in your background, it doesn't have to be sections of colors like my mom did right here. All it has to do, you can also like put blue and purple together and green and purple and blue all in one section. You don't have to do a background. You don't have to do it in sections.
That's right. And if you're not doing a background, or if you're not doing kind of the collage background and you just want to draw, or if you just want to leave it blank, then you can move on to kind of to go ahead and glue your shapes on. So here, what you're going to do, I would actually, I'd start at the top and kind of work your way down. Save your clothes for last, so you can kind of layer them on top of, so you can layer them on top of your other shapes. But start with your ears. Remember, you've got the brown that goes on first, and then you put the pink triangles on top. You can put your circle eyes on, your raindrop, upside down raindrop nose, your wings, and I'll talk about how to cut out those wings to match the face here in a moment, and then your feet. And then you can start on your clothes too. But that's the order I would recommend you go in. In fact, I will just go ahead and start there. I'll go ahead and start my shapes. I'll work on filling in my backgrounds last, just so those of you who don't want to do a background, you can follow along. So I'm getting out my glue stick. Here again, glue stick, this pack comes with just glitter glue here also would probably work just fine. I'm going to put on my ears first. And so I'm going to start with my brown, and something to just remember, and I just did this wrong. I'm going to do my glue off to the side so that I don't get glue in places that I don't want glue on my paper, right? But then you have to remember that there may be glue around here. So don't, just remember when you're working on this face later. And we do try to always cover our surface before we start, just in case we do make a little mess. It's not the end of the world.
Can I have a casilla?
You may.
So Alice, someone says that the cheetah is really cute.
Thank you.
She's working hard. Her pieces aren't glued down, but once they
No,
are.
my pieces are.
Oh, they are? Well, hold it
Yeah.
up for the camera. Let everybody see.
So right now, this is my cheetah. I kind of just put on the wonky looking spots. Right now, this is my cheetah. I still have to do the face, what's like the snout, mouth, whatever whatever you call it for animals. And then the ears and head. And yeah.
All right. Way to go, Alice.
And then I'm gonna do the tongue with a little bit of some pink tissue paper.
Oh, that's cute. I like that touch. A little bit of a different texture because cats' tongues are what? Are they
They're
silky
different
smooth or are they?
Well, actually, so some cats, when they lick you, you can actually feel more of a rough tongue, which can kind of make you laugh a little bit if things kind of tickle you more. And then some other cats have more smooth tongues that can also tickle you, but ones with rough tongues, it's more like kind of just bumps on there, like tiny little bumps.
Yeah.
It feels like, and then smooth ones, it just feels like kind of like smooth, like lotion kind of.
Mhm. So I've got my owl's ears on, brown first and then the pink. Next, I'm gonna move over to its eyes. So I'm gonna get my 2 purple circles. Put them in the middle. My owl has ginormous eyes, so you might be going with big eyes just because
Why is it
I
so?
really made them very,
Owls-
very big.
I actually think owls can only they don't rotate they can't rotate their head actually 360. They can only do like a little. They can't rotate it fully 360. They can only they're just a little under 360. I don't know if that's true, but
Interesting.
I don't
Yeah,
know if that's true.
I had heard that owls could do that too, like rotate their heads all the way around. All right, any questions? So, oops, let me show. I have my eyes down. I made really, really big eyes. You don't have to make eyes this big. And if you realize your eyes are too big before you put them down with glue, you can always make them smaller. But I kind of liked the
Is it
big
okay
eye
if we cut
effect
a circle for
this
me?
week.
Can you cut a
Sure, sure.
Not very good.
Do you need
then-
1 or 2?
I need just one.
Oh, 1 big one for the head?
Yeah, just do a really big one. I mean,
Okay, you might have to cut this down because I don't know how big that head is.
yeah, I know. You just need to do
But I'll get you started.
So Jess, we have had this question quite a few times.
Okay.
So about the little squares in the background, can we overlap those squares? Can we make any layers?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. So what I did, so you'll see on mine, I did try to create some separation in between the squares, and that just gives us this kind of stained glass look. If you've ever seen stained glass, it kind of the colors are separated by, you know, the black iron that runs through. But if you wanted to just do some overlap, that's fine. And you know, you see here on my tissue, I definitely overlapped my tissue because you can see where it's darker and lighter, where tissue has been overlapped on one another. So you can actually get some really cool and very different effects by doing it that way. And if you're finding that the shapes you tore up are not fitting your paper just correctly, continue, just cut, you know, tear them down so that they fit the way the space you need them to. You will definitely need to modify as you go. So don't worry if your faces or your spaces, excuse me, your squares don't fit the space perfectly. That's okay. You can continue to modify your pieces, continue to tear them so that they fit those awkward spaces too. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say Stella and Sophia are sharing a fun fact here. They say,
Please.
do you know that owls' legs are actually super long, but they're covered with all their feathers?
Really? I love, you know, we didn't look up any owl facts today and I wish we had. I love owl facts. So if you know any interesting owl facts, and thank you guys for sharing those. That was great. We would love to hear more. If I've got some owl experts out there, I want to hear from you. I love learning about other things you can create. And it's cool because it just you can even make your project, adjust your project based on the things you know, right? They keep their feathers. Maybe you want to make sure they have Make sure your owl has feathers. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put my googly eyes on my owl. I'm just gonna put them in the center of my two, it's on my hole here. Two purple circles. Oh, good. All right, we've got one last joke. And so we'll do that. I will tell everyone, I know we're coming up on our time. I'm going to speed up just a little bit here so everyone can kind of see at least close to what the finished product and steps would look like. So I'm going to move my project along a little bit. Just keep putting your pieces down, okay? You fill in the blanks with your torn up paper. You fill in your background with the torn up paper, however you like. It's just glue and putting them down. And then I'm going to try to get to this part, the clothing part with the tissue paper really quickly so you can see how I did that. So if we don't finish here today, you know how to complete the project on your own. But I'm going to pick up the pace while Alice is talking through her, the final joke of the day.
Okay, so our final joke of the day is gonna be, what's an owl's favorite school subject? Again, what's an owl's favorite school subject? Put it in the Q&A what you think, and we will tell you the answer soon.
All right, while you're working on that, I just realized I forgot to tell you guys about how to do something. So when you're putting your wings on, since your wing shape may be bigger than your owl, what you do is kind of before you get to the head part, you're gonna try to kind of figure out where your line would be, and you're just gonna cut your wing off to match the line of the face. So I've got mine kind of partially glued on, but not all the way. And I'm just gonna take my scissors, find that line before I glue it all down, and create that curve, a little bit of that curve. So it works, okay? And you can do that before you put it down or once it's down, either way is just fine.
And so we have a bunch of responses now.
Okay, let's hear them.
So we have science, hoostery, owl math, biology,
Woo, that's a good one.
algebra,
Ah, that's the one we were looking for.
Algebra.
Algebra.
So the answer from what's an owl's favorite school subject? The answer is algebra.
But there were a lot of really good ones.
I think the hoostery was really good.
Hoostery, biology, I thought was really good too. Those all work well.
We also have a bunch of fun facts here.
Ooh, let's hear them.
So, owls can turn their heads or rotate their heads 270 degrees. So
Very good.
I saw it on a video,
Yeah.
and they're like, it actually can't turn its head 360. It's actually a little bit less than
So it was 270 degrees is the exact amount. That's
they're
amazing.
saying here, yeah, 270.
Wow.
What else? Some owls sleep in cactuses.
Whoa,
yeah, I'm pretty sure
that sounds kind of dangerous.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure they like dig a hole in it and be like, and live in. Or they may use like some birds actually live in it, so they make like one bird maybe like, I don't like this home anymore.
Maybe that
And
actually
the owl
helps.
is like, hello, this is my new home.
Maybe that actually helps them stay safe from other predators who don't want to come near cactus. Because what do cactus have on them that are no fun? Spikes, spines, right? Little spiny things that hurt. Okay, I've got my wings and my feet on. I'm going to move on to my clothes just so you see how I do that. So we don't run out of time without showing everybody how to do that piece of this. Okay, so I am going to get my tissue paper right here. Oops. Use pink again, but you can use whatever colors you like. And this is kind of similar to what we did for the outline too. You're just going to kind of cut it up. So I'm gonna to fit the space. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lay mine out so I know how many pieces I need. And I'm just using these little squares that came in our art set box, and I'm overlapping them slightly.
Can I
I'm
see?
covering the whole belly part.
Can I
Yeah.
say?
Yes.
Another thing to say, it's actually about googly eyes. I don't think we've done that yet, but if you guys are gonna do googly eyes instead of drawing them on there or something, some googly eyes actually have a peel back. So on the white part, it's more like kind of, you can peel it off and it will become a sticker. Not all googly eyes. So yeah, if you don't wanna, so you can just kind of turn it on the back, and it's a little hard. You just have to get your fingernail kind of
Yeah,
under there.
just under there.
But if it's not if it's not like a sticker googly eye, then you can glue it on.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and put my clothing down. Again, I'm not looking for perfect because I'm going to go back when I'm all done and just tear off the edges to help it fit the space. Right now, I'm just trying to get them glued down on the paper. I'm going to start with my bottom layer, and then I'll layer the next layer, and I'm going to layer the next layer. For these squares I'm using, which are about 1 inch by 1 inch, it's going to take 4 across the bottom, 4 across the middle, and 3 across the top to fill up my whole belly. Okay, and I'm going to put the glue down on the paper, not on the tissue paper, because tissue paper is so thin, it tears very easily. And so it can be kind of, you know, if you're working on the paper, you might be, or putting glue, trying to put glue directly on the tissue paper, it might tear a little bit. So I'm just going to put it on this, and then I'm just going to lay them down. It's okay for them to overlap some. Okay.
Another thing with tissue paper at the moment, so I'm actually making my cheetah's tongue, because I'll show you. For my cheetah's tongue, right here on the little snout, whatever you guys call it, I actually don't know what that's called. And because I'm gonna leave this space purple, I just feel like it. And you can also, let me stand up. You can also crumple your tissue paper, kind of like roll it into a ball or something, if you kind of want to, so you don't have to cut out shapes. It can make the shape like that, kind of.
Awesome. Okay, and I've almost got my second layer down. Okay, and you may need to put just a little bit on the tissue paper that's already down on the paper, so that you know your layering sticks. But you should be fairly good here.
And so I just wanted to share a few things that I've seen in the chat. So we have a lot of eyelashes going on here.
Oh, I love it.
Pom-poms, a lot of glitter, rhinestones, what else? A lot of owls holding a pizza.
Owls holding a pizza. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one I hadn't heard, but I love it. I
Why
love
not?
the creativity. So I've got all of my tissue paper down now. What I'm going to do is just go kind of gently tear my paper so that my wing shapes aren't covered up, and that this is a little bit clean. And then I'm going to take a little line of construction paper and put it on top here and one on the bottom to give it this kind of completed outfit look, right? You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. It sounds like we've got a lot of people getting creative out there, which I absolutely love. That's awesome. Yeah, so, whoops, I'm not doing a very good job of tearing mine, but here we go. Okay, so I've got my dress coming together. Here we go, my sides. You see, I'm just kind of taking my finger and guiding the paper as I'm tearing so that it doesn't rip up more than I want it to.
Okay, then that should be good.
And then I'm going to do my final 2 bits of cuts of construction paper to finish her dress off. Ooh, that was too much. Okay. And then I'm going to take my pink. Just make some. I'm just cutting kind of we'll see how this fits and I'll adjust it as I need to, but I just kind of cut slightly curved line to be at the bottom of her belly. It works pretty well. I just need to line it up to the shape of it.
Done with my cheetah.
There we go. I'm just gonna cut it over here to where it half out of her wing. I got one for the
Finished
bottom.
with my cheetah.
All right, Alice is all done. She's not doing her background, so, but she did a fabulous job. I love the tongue, Alice. I can't wait till everybody can see it.
Oh, Jess, we have a great question here.
Yeah.
Could we turn these animals into ornaments?
You know what? I really love that idea.
Could,
What are your
because,
ideas? Yes, please, sure.
You could, I'm just gonna say what you could do
Mhm.
was, so you could take the paper kind of, your background paper with your animal on it, maybe cut it out to a shape on it, or if you want to leave it like a square, you could.
Mhm.
Then you could get one of the things you hang an ornament on, like those things that you would put on a Christmas tree,
Mhm.
and you kind of stick it through the paper. Parents help maybe, like if you're old enough, you can do it, but you would probably need parents help. And then what you want to, since it's gonna be like kind of like you put a paper. I'm just gonna example as a paper clip maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of you stick a paper clip through it, and the other, like a side of the paper clip that goes to the other side, you will kind of push it down onto the paper. Then you'll have that one part that can kind of like go onto the Christmas tree. And you can slip it on there, and you have it as an ornament.
There you go. Yeah. You could, to Alice's point, so I think she was thinking about, creating a hole in the top of your paper and maybe guiding a paper clip through. You could also put 2 holes on either side and maybe string some yarn through. You have to be very careful because this, construction paper isn't super sturdy. But if you're gentle and you make just kind of a knot in the back on either side and let it pull up, I bet you could get a nice hanging picture. You could use it as an ornament, or if you didn't do the background on your paper, you could always cut your animal out and maybe put a hole through. You could do the top of their ears or one somewhere here and do the same thing and hang it. So that's absolutely something you could do. I think that's a really cool variation on this project. So you can see I'm all done with the dress. Hopefully a bunch of you are finishing up. I'm going to continue on and just kind of get all my background pieces on there so I can finish up my project. But if you are all done and finished with us today, please, I want to remind you, don't forget to share your creations with us. We've got it in the Q&A, hashtag Michael's classes and hashtag Make It With Michael's. We are going to be running Creatology, Camp Creatology for the next for 4 weeks. So this is the first day of 4 weeks. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a free online class, or you can go in store and create with us. We would love to see you. We love seeing your creativity. So thank you for joining us today. We're going to stick around a little bit longer and just finish out the background. But we loved talking to everyone today. If you're all done and you need to jump. So we're going to keep working though. No, I don't need that circle. Yeah, okay. Alice is cleaning up her supplies, which is a great thing to do. Always clean up your mess when you're all done, right? It's no fun to have to be the person that cleans up the mess after somebody else. All right, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm just taking these shapes and putting them on the paper. And I'm cutting them where I need to kind of make more room. Just tearing them some more.
Right there.
Try, it'll be fine. Thank you. These are all pretty well cut up.
We have a lot of requests for another animal, so maybe in the future we could have another similar class.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, maybe we've heard all of your great suggestions and those are fabulous, but like if you had to put your favorite animal that you would want to see us make, why don't you put that in the chat for us? We'd love to hear. And maybe it would become a future, Michael's class. How fun would that be? Oh, and Alice, we need to pick the name of our owl. We haven't.
I feel like.
I'll let you pick.
Any last names for the owl? Does anyone have like any last?
So we've got
minute names?
Hootie, or, oh, any last final submissions?
Final minute
There's
names.
Big Eyes, Lily, Hootie, I remember. Yes.
So first we have a bunch of animal suggestions. We have
Okay, let's hear those first.
so monkey, phoenix, horse, frog, alligator, dog, pig, koala, ostrich, bunny, cat, panther, unicorn, panda.
So many awesome ideas. I feel like we just
I
need to
feel
do
like you could do
a
the
class where you can make a bunch of different
I
stuff.
feel like the panda would be a cute thing where you take like the things that like you like put it in paper and it's able to move. You know those.
Mhm.
And then it could be like the panda's holding bamboo and you kind of just make the panda eat the bamboo.
Eat the bamboo.
Like it's where like it has a little section in the mouth where like you like kind of time it correctly and it can go in the mouth and it can come back out.
Does sound like it would be super cute. I agree. I love all those suggestions. We will absolutely take them back to our friends on the classes and events team here at Michael's and see what we can do in the future. I love those suggestions.
Okay, and any elements?
Yeah.
Any final submissions
names.
for our owl's name? We've got
Okay.
some good ones
So
already. Sorry,
we
go ahead.
have Owlette,
That's I believe got to.
Senna, Holly the owl, Haley. Let's see, Kitty. I don't know if that's a suggestion or a name, but it can be both.
I love it. All right,
I like
Alice.
Polly.
You like Polly? Was it Polly or Holly?
Yeah.
Ollie.
Holly with an H?
Ollie without an H.
Oh,
Ollie.
Ooh, Ollie.
What do you think?
Ollie.
All right, Ollie it is. Ollie wins the day.
Love it.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you all for your creativity. It is such a joy to get to spend time with you guys. Yo, and Alice
This
wants
is
to give one
my-
final look at her cheetah.
Finished cheetah. Its name is Choo Choo. Oh, that's a cute name. This is my finished cheetah. Some spots. Yeah, I need to put some spots on my ears, but that's my finished cheetah.
And you can
So
see,
Alice,
I've almost got my green all done. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, Alice, you got a lot of compliments on your cheetah today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. Because it can be scary to share things you make sometimes, can't it? So you don't know how other people are going to react to them, but you got to put yourself out there.
Yeah, whenever I do like presentations in class, I'm like, hi, my name is Alice. Yeah, you guys probably all know me because like I've been here for like a year now.
Because I'm in your class. Awesome. All right. I am getting closer and closer. I finished up on my green. I'm going to do a thin layer of purple and then Alice, do you mind helping me finish out because we are over and I want to be conscious of everyone's time. So
Conscious of your time.
mm.
So what am I doing?
Okay, so you're just going to help me do a little bit of the purple and then finish up with the blue too.
So while you guys do that, Alice, Beckett has a suggestion for a name for your cheetah. Star.
Ooh, star or scar?
Star, scar.
Star with a T. Oh, there you go.
Star with a T. I like it.
Ooh,
All right. Or star. Okay. I think her cat
TT.
may have a new name.
TT is star.
Chi or Star. Still deciding.
No, I just
Could be Chi Chi Star. It could be a full name.
Yes, TT star.
Ooh, I like that.
TT star.
All right.
Should we do blue?
Yes, if you can start working on the blue, that would be a big help. Thank you. All right. Now we're working on our blue layer. We're almost all the way done, just to the finish line. Alice is being a great helper. Ooh, hold on. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you
You
go.
said they could touch.
You did fabulous. Thank you. You did a great job. All right, I'm just gonna fill in a couple blanks here.
Oh wait, I thought I didn't have a nose for my cheetah and I'm like, oh wait, it's face.
Okay. Last piece. Last piece. Got a space over here. Gotta
I'm
fill
gonna
it
finish
in.
before my mother. I finished before you.
Didn't know we were having a race, but you win. All right, all done. Look at our beautiful, beautiful picture. We made another fabulous owl. So we named it Owlie. Ollie, the Ollie
Can I do something?
and Chi Chi Star. We so had a good time with everybody today. Thank you so much. Please join us again on Wednesday for our next Camp Creatology class.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You got a bunch of amazing comments today. Everybody loved it. So thank you for such an amazing class.
Thank you.
Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.